Go Honda and Subarus. We got Hondas and Subarus. We got Hondas and Subarus.
Hey, young world. I am Reese, the beautiful black beast of the Southeast. I am joined here with my brother,
Marvo.
We are the Kings of Critique, and it brings us great pleasure to present to you yet another installment of Maurice and Marvin Reviews for you. So we've recently checked out the theatrical release of Spiral from the Book of Saw. This is the 9th movie in the Saw universe, and although the title may preface that this is a spin-off in the Saw series, and most online descriptions would say the same, but I very much feel like this is just another Saw movie. It has all the elements. Self-righteous antagonists hell-bent on teaching some fools some valuable life lessons. Check. Aloof victims who've committed some type of sin in need of penance and redemption. Check. And traps. My God, the traps. It's really the most important element of a Saw movie. It's the elaborate torture devices that's really putting the butts in the seats, and it's all there. So no, I don't see Spiral as a spin-off, but more as a soft reboot.
But yeah, so the Saw has a long history. I believe the first movie came out in 2004. And since then, its inception, it grew like a cult-like following. So we had one every year, 2004, 2005, all the way up to, I think, 7. And after that, we had, there was a little hiatus. It wasn't for 7 years till the Jigsaw movie came out. Now that, I believe, is the only one in the franchise I didn't see. So here we are, 4 years later, 2021. We have Spiral, a Book of Saw. And like Maurice said, it would seem like it's a spin-off, or they make it want to make it seem like that. But I feel like it's just a continuation. This kind of movie, just like the Friday 13th movies, those long-running or Freddy's. This is this generation's or the previous generation's version of that. So we want to keep it going, no matter if you kill off the antagonist or whatever, per se.
The original Saw introduced the groundbreaking concept of choice to the horror genre. A psychotic serial killer would give his victims a choice of their horrific fate. Either cut your own leg off with a rusty butter knife or take a shotgun blast to the face, stuff like that.
The thing that makes this franchise particularly special is, like you said, the traps, and that's what everybody likes. You get a different version of gore here, and that's what makes these so intricate. Is the traps, and also the thing that Jigsaw says you get. His traps are so sure. It's the illusion of choice. That's the funny thing. It's not really choice. It's the illusion of choice. But I do agree with what Jigsaw said. After you've made it through one of these traps, it's 100% rehabilitation. Instantly. Okay. That's what he said. We all know it's bullshit. But here we go.
The second film was more the same, but on a greater scale with better production value. After that, the series began to gradually decrease in production value until the film started looking like made-for-TV movies. Spiral was pretty much a return to form. The producers got the production value way up for this one, and they enlisted 2 juggernaut actors in the game with Chris Rock and Samuel L. Jackson, the former of which being the lead actor of the movie.
So, if you like the Saw movies, you know what you're going to get. You're going to get a little gore here. You're going to get a little story. Nothing that you got to really, you really think about. But you just go because you like these movies. You like the aesthetics. You like the traps, And what I find funny is how many of the Saw movies have to deal with actual detectives or some detective work, which brings us to the Spiral Saw. Chris Rock is the main character here, which I absolutely love. I'm a huge Chris Rock fan, and to see him go from comedy into minor roles into now he's becoming a really big great guy. He's doing all kind of dramatic roles. I don't know if you've seen the last season of Fargo where he was the main character. He do the Grown Up series with Adam Sandler. So he's been all over the place. So to see him in this particular role and to see his growth as an actor, and and he executively produced this one, I think is huge. And to see any melanated person, especially my brothers and sisters of blackness, doing positive things and big roles like this, I gotta support it. I gotta go see it. I gotta stand behind it.
The thing about Chris Rock is, until recently, I always saw him as this loud, whiny, mildly amusing guy. But a few years ago, somehow he's matured into this cool, charismatic, actually funny actor. And this was on full display in Spiral.
People can say what they want. I found the movie extremely entertaining. I enjoyed his character. I enjoyed his charisma, the acting. I enjoyed the cast. They had a pretty solid cast of believable people. I think his co-star, which is his co-detective, I don't know the guy's name. I've seen him in The Handmaid's Tale, which is pretty popular online if anybody's familiar with that. I didn't know Samuel Jackson was in it, but he had a pretty significant role. And some of the other character actors I'm not familiar with. However, they did their jobs well. I mean, some of these people they really made it seem like they was assholes. They really made it seem like they was jerks. And you can they did, the whole production was just done well.
Obviously, this isn't a jokey joke movie. However, Rock handled a few yucks he had at the beginning of the movie, like the legendary comedic vet he is. For Chris Rock to even take a role like this, I never saw it coming. And then I noticed that he's an executive producer on the film, so he's probably getting a hell of a lot of money on the back end. I'm thinking that he finally took a few notes from his Hollywood counterparts over the years. Like Adam Sandler and some of the other SNL crew. I really enjoyed the movie, but the one negative critique I had about it was a major one, and that was the predictability of the film. I mean, I knew who the killer was and what their reasoning was within the first 15 minutes of the film. And I think it's just like, this is the 9th Saw movie, so there are patterns that it follows. You watch enough films, you start learning the patterns, and you figure it out. But just the story was kind of cool, but it was just predictable, man. You knew exactly what was going on.
I don't really want to spoil too much for people who hasn't seen it and those who want to go see it, but like most Saw movies, you come onto a scene, Chris Rock's the first on scene and stuff start popping off. And I think it's the mystery as to figuring out what's going on, why these particular people that Jigsaw, which which I also say is a continuation, not a spinoff, but I'm sorry to jump from point to point, is because they make references to Jigsaw and, that they're still in the same universe. Like, hey, the Jigsaw original guy is dead, this is a copycat killer, etc., which to me says, this is not a spinoff, this is still contained in that same universe, they're just pushing it forward, which I think works extremely well. But like Maurice said, the same things continue on. You got, the Jigsaw, you got these elaborate traps which they do not hold back. I mean, again, I don't want to spoil some of the traps and what happens, but don't go in there with full stomach. So he's a detective doing his thing. He's hated on the force because he's actually a good, which I like this, he's a good cop, but no one likes him in the department because he actually ended up telling on his partner did some dirt, murdered a witness. And so they calling him a snitch, a backstabber. He turned his back on the force. And so he's basically alienated from the police force. Everybody hates the guy for doing the right thing, which we all know in this world. It's so hard to do the right thing, but it's so easy to get away with BS and do whatever. So I like that they show the realistic side of what doing the right thing could do. You can tell that this particular Jigsaw killer had a personal relationship and was constantly trying to push his buttons and lead him down the rabbit hole per se. So they're basically playing a cat and mouse. So you got a little bit of a mystery detective story along with the Saw movie, which I think it was just perfect. I don't know if it was just me geeking out, but and just being a fanboy of Chris Rock, but I just was so into it. I just thought it was awesome. The guy, in my eye, the guy could do no wrong. His presence on the screen was just unbelievable.
One thing I noticed about the film that I could have been wrong, that they might not have been aiming for this, but I'm pretty sure they were, was the police-civilian relations. I think this movie was more or less about police-civilian relations and how the police was being punished in some sort of way. Like, you may not get punished in IRL, but they were punishing the police in this movie. So I could be wrong about that, but I thought that was the underlining message of this film. And I say bravo.
Like Maurice said, I 100% agree. You can tell they put some social commentary to it. I mean, without a doubt. If you've been paying attention in the news in the last few years, especially with some of these very high-profile cases of police brutality, police murders, let's call them what they are. And so they touched base on that quite a bit with Dirty Cops. Here we are, another movie talking about present day what's going on in our society with these dirty cops and killing people. So it was a lot of that actually. Dirty cops getting justice, or I'm sorry, getting their just desserts, I should say.
All right, so if I'm going to rate Spiral from the Book of Saw, I think I'm going to give it a 3.5 Maurice heads. Because I did enjoy the film, but the predictability kind of took away a little bit from me. But if it wasn't so predictable, I might even give it 4 Maurice heads, but 3.5 seems about right. And you, Marvin?
If you like horror movie, if you're into the Saw movies like we are, I think you'll enjoy it. People might hate me for that. You know what, man? I'm gonna give it a 4. I don't give a damn. Whatever. Give it a 4 Marvin heads. I highly recommend you go see it. That's how I feel about it. Shit was awesome.
All right, so that about wraps up another edition of Maurice and Marvin Reviews for you. Thank you for joining us today. You could have been anywhere on Earth, but you chose to be here with us. We appreciate that. Don't let your distractions hinder your actions. Peace.
Yeah.
We out. Mirth Productions. Reese gets the last laugh.